Good morning. My name is Liz Munoz, and it is a joy to welcome you here this morning. The centering theme of this month's Sunday service and religious exploration is deep listening. I invite us to take a deep breath and center ourselves with these words, written by our lead minister, Reverend Beth Monholland, meant to call us together into the shared sacred space of stillness and listening. With our searching souls and our broken hearts, let us seek refuge and renewal in this time and place. Let the noises of the world fall silent in this hour, and let the stillness find us and carve out space for us to hear more clearly the call of grace and love. Let us listen deeply to the teachers that find us here, the questions of a child, the tears and laughter of our companions, the gifts of ministry and music, and yes, the teacher that is our own souls. In stillness, in spaciousness, in love, let us gather.
A flaming chalice has been a symbol of the Unitarian Universalists for many decades, and we join our siblings in faith each Sunday when we gather by lighting our chalice here in the sanctuary. For those joining us online, I invite you to light a candle or chalice in your own space as we read our chalice lighting words written by our former minister, Reverend Florence Caplow. You can read along if you wish, or simply listen and reflect. We light this chalice in honor of the animal realm, furred and hoofed, two-legged, four-legged, many-legged, fanged and clawed, gentle and fierce, wild and tame. May we remember that all animals are our relatives, worthy of our care and respect.
Thank you, Mabel. Thank you, Munoz family. And welcome all to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign. We are a congregation of many different beliefs, histories, and identities, united by a shared commitment to our mission of building community, seeking inspiration, promoting justice, and finding peace. My name is Reverend Sally Fritchie, and I am honored to serve as the Associate Minister of this church alongside our lead minister, Reverend Beth Monholland. As we gather this morning, whether you're here in person or joining us from afar, know that you are welcome. And if you're at any point feeling a bit too crowded with community here in the sanctuary, you're welcome to join the live stream in Fellowship Hall just across the entryway. The space there is great if you need to stretch your legs, pour yourself a cup of coffee, or enjoy a little more wiggle room. We're a congregation of all ages, and today, all species, which means we embrace whatever noises or little disruptions our various members will bring into Sunday morning. This is an all-ages service as well, which means our kids will be here in the sanctuary with us the entire service and will not be going downstairs to religious exploration. If you need to move around or grab coloring supplies, feel free to do so. They're just under the lanyard table out in the entryway. You may have noticed this Sunday is a bit different from a regular Sunday. Today we celebrate the blessing of the animals, a tradition inspired by Francis of Assisi, a Catholic monk born in Italy more than 400 years ago, who is now canonized as a patron saint of animals in the Catholic tradition. Saint Francis, while he was alive, chose to live simply, referring to all creatures as his brothers and sisters, and famously stopping by the roadside to preach to the birds that he saw perched there. St. Francis's birthday is in October, and now communities all over the world will take a day in October to offer a blessing to the animals in our lives, and also to celebrate the blessing that they are to us. Later in the service, there will be a chance for everyone to bring their animal companions or stuffed animals, or their human animal selves, up to the front to receive some words of blessing and a touch of colorful chalk And because of all the moving pieces of this service, we will not be having shared joys and sorrows this morning. So if you already sent in a joy or sorrow via email, you can choose whether you'd like to have it printed in this week's e-news or if we should hold on to it and read it out loud next Sunday. So now we'll take just a moment to turn and greet our neighbors in the pews. And today, since we have possibly some new fluffy or scaly or feathered neighbors to greet, let's remember that we always ask the human attached if it is okay to pat the animal. We reach out slowly and lowly so that no one is startled. And if you don't have an animal with you this morning, I would like to invite you during this time of greeting your neighbors to just run forward and grab a stuffy if you're interested. If you want someone to be cuddling and holding during this service that's all about animals. So with that, I invite you to turn in your pew, ask if it's okay to pat, or simply shake hands, smile, nod, and greet your neighbors. Thank you. And now I invite us to prepare to join in singing our opening hymn, which will be featured frequently during this month focused on deep listening. We sang it last week. Please stand if standing is comfortable for you, and join in singing number 352 in the Great Hymnal, Find a Stillness. So this whole service is a time for all ages, essentially, because it's an all ages service. But we also have a particular poem for all ages, written by Shel Silverstein, and it's a poem that requires a little bit of your participation. So do you think you can help me out? I got at least one yes. To help, you'll need to know what sounds a few different animals make, and then help make them when they come up in the poem. So what sound does an owl make? Okay, nice, we got it. What about a horse? What sound does a horse make? Some very realistic horses in here. What about a little bird like a wren? Cheep, cheep, cheep. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, now this next one's kind of a trick question, because what sound does a dog make? See, you're not wrong, but in this poem, our dog has to say bow wow, specifically. So let's try that. Can you do bow wow? Thank you. And finally, what sound does a sheep make? All right, we're ready. So this is a poem about a farmer. It's about a farmer who knows how to listen to the animals, and he takes their advice about a very important visitor that he sees passing his farm on the Royal Road. Are you ready? "She's coming," the farmer said to the owl. "Oh, what shall I do? Shall I bow when she comes? Shall I twiddle my thumbs?" The owl asked. The queen, the royal queen, she'll pass the farm today. Shall I salute?" he asked the horse. The horse said, "Nay." "Shall I give her a gift?" he asked the wren. "A lovely memento for her to keep, an egg or a peach or an ear of corn?" The wren said, "Cheep, cheep." "But should I curtsy or should I cheer? Oh, here's her carriage now. What should I do?" he asked the dog. The dog said, and so he did. And so she passed, oh, tra-la-la-la-la. "She smiled, she did," he told the sheep. The sheep said, The end. You did beautifully, thank you, menagerie. With that, I will invite another member of the Munoz family, Aaron, forward to read our next reading.
This reading is a poem by the Kentuckian writer, environmental activist, and farmer Wendell Berry. It's titled "The Peace of Wild Things." The irony. When I despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in the beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and am free. We now have some community matters and offering. We have many opportunities to connect both within and beyond our congregation. We invite you to subscribe to and read our weekly e-news to stay up to date on all the activities offered through Religious Exploration Program and our various teams and committees. I want to highlight a few things. If you're new or curious about UUCUC, we're holding weekly inquirer sessions about our church to answer your questions about various areas of church life. Today will be an orientation to our church website, online spaces, and Realm database. Last week was about faith development for kids and adults, and next week will be about worship planning and the liturgical year. If you have questions or want a chance to learn more, just grab coffee, have a snack at our fellowship hour, find your way downstairs to the library at 11:45 for inquirers. Our next congregational coffee house will be in just 2 weeks on Saturday, October 26th. If you've never been to a UUC coffee house, they're fun, free, all ages talent shows here at the church, showcasing many artistic abilities of our congregation. You can sign up if you'd like to add your own piece of music, poetry reading, magic trick, puppet show to the mix. Just talk to Tanya Hodges or email music-committee@uucuc.org. Each Sunday, in recognition of our very real independence and reliance on each other, we pass the plate and share our offering with an organization doing the work of justice in the world. Our shared offering partner for October is the CU Independent Media Center. The IMC operates a community arts center out of the historic downtown Urbana Post Office building and was originally founded in reaction to the widespread defunding of the arts. The IMC provides a space and support system for a local free book and zine library, a makerspace, a community newspaper, and the WRFU 104.5 radio station. And they are key supporters of the Books to Prisoners project, which UUC is also involved in. They're a truly grassroots organization, and we're proud to share our offering collections with them for the month of October. You can give by text or through online portal to our website, or if you're here in the sanctuary, the basket will be passed and checks could be made out to UUCUC, and in the memo put shared offering. Half of what you give will go towards sustaining the work of this church, and the other half will go directly to the Independent Media Center. We invite you to give whatever is generous for you, and we know that anything you contribute will be gratefully received and put to use, helping them make a real impact for people right now in our community.
I'm inviting UUCUC member Panay Beckett, along with Stevie, a very dapper gentleman, to the pulpit to share a reflection and a reading.
Good morning. This is Stevie Ray Vaughn Beckett. He's 8 years old and he's not really quite sure why he's standing up here. But I want to tell you a little story about how we got Stevie. We had lost a dog, and I'm not much without a dog. I have to have a dog. We had 2 cats. I see you, yeah. We had 2 cats. Wasn't enough. I needed a dog. Well, I did a search online for rescue toy poodle. Couldn't find one found one, way more money than I could afford. So finally I found one, of all places, Moscow, Illinois. It's about a 7-hour drive from here. Well, Johnny had just gotten a new car, and I said, well, let's take the car on a nice long ride. So off we went to Moscow. They brought Stevie out. He had lived with 6 standard poodles, which are about this tall, right? They're big. Well, that's where he lives, so he thinks he's that big. It's okay, sweetie. They sent us home with diapers for him. I don't know why, because he would just go to the door when he had to go out. And he didn't bark, he didn't scratch, he'd just go stand by the door. And if you didn't notice him, pretty soon he'd go, whoop, and then you go, oh, you want to go out? And I'd let him out. So that was no problem. On the way home, bringing him home, I held him the entire time. He was scared to death, but I held him. I couldn't even go into the bathroom. I had to take him with me. He would not let me put him down. He just clung to me. And so we really bonded. When we walk, Stevie always constantly is checking me. He's always looking up at me. He doesn't pay attention to other animals on the walk, other people, just mommy. You're a good boy, honey. Okay, now we're going to read a poem by Mary Oliver. Be just a second. I had a dog who loved flowers. Briskly, she went through the fields, yet paused for the honeysuckle or the rose, her dark head and her wet nose touching the face. With petals of silk, with its fragrance rising into the air, where the bees, their bodies heavy with pollen, hovered. And easily she adored every blossom, not in the serious, careful way that we choose this blossom or that blossom, the way we praise or don't praise, the way we love or don't love, but the way we long to be, that happy in the heaven of earth, that wild, that loving. Thank you. You ready? Okay.
Thank you, Panay, and thank you, Stevie. I am someone who loves learning about animals. Maybe we have that in common. I've got lots of fun facts that I can share. For example, did you know that camels actually evolved in the Americas? They're from the same branch of the family tree as llamas and alpacas, and migrated over the Bering Land Bridge some 7 million years ago, while humans were migrating the other direction. Did you know that there is a crustacean about 4 inches long, the mantis shrimp, that can punch with the force of a .22 caliber bullet, and also has the most complicated eyes in the animal kingdom, allowing it to see colors that we humans can only imagine? Extremely cool. There are so many things to learn, so many interesting facts about all the many, many types of animals out there. But there is a difference between learning about and learning from. Not that one is better than the other, but they are different, right? Learning about animals and learning from animals. And since we're focusing this month on deep listening, I hope we could take today to think briefly about what it might look like to listen deeply to the many different kinds of animals who share our planet. What lessons might they teach us if we were willing to give them our time and attention? And can we recognize the difference between a lesson and a fact? What lessons have you already learned from listening to the wisdom of animals? Thinking of the strange, still mysterious life forms lurking in the depths of our oceans, what might they teach us about surviving under immense pressure, about generating your own source of light, about savoring every grain that drifts down from above? Or the huge extinct creatures whose bones are in our museums, what might they teach us about our own timeline here on Earth? The way eras can end unexpectedly even after flourishing for millions of years. What do we learn from animals that hunt to live, that kill and compete? Or animals that hide and multiply and find new ways of surviving and being careful? What do we learn from the animals that we eat or farm or hunt? Are we willing to hear those voices too? To listen, to learn from, is to admit that we don't already know it all. It's a process that asks us to humble ourselves and remember that we are just one species among many. Still creation's younger sibling in many ways, only recently arrived and still with lots to learn. Humans, for all our imagination, have a stubborn way of projecting ourselves onto other animals. Seeing a dolphin's big, wide grin and thinking it must be laughing. Or hearing a dog sigh deeply, you know that sigh like, and thinking, me too, buddy, me too. We can't help but look at them and see ourselves, translate their voices into our language. And it's not that that's wrong necessarily. It's part of how we relate, but there's so much more. There's so much more to the animal world, and listening deeply means sometimes allowing them to remain untranslated, allowing for the strangeness, the foreignness of their experience in the world. We don't have to understand the octopus or the deer or the cat to respect it. We literally cannot see the world as the mantis shrimp sees it. We don't have the equipment. But we can recognize that our way of seeing is just different and not inherently better or worse than theirs. Some who have experienced a deep bond with an animal might resonate with this. We don't need to have perfect understanding before we respect one another, care for one another, live alongside each other. Why does your cat knock cups off the counter? Why is my dog terrified of running water? Why do they sometimes lash out? What is my dog thinking when she brings me a deer jaw that she dug up in the backyard? Sometimes you look into the eyes of a beloved family pet and realize on some deep level, there is an animal living in my house with me. And I have no idea what their experience of this life is, but the love I feel for them is undeniable all the same. Animals are strange, wild, unfamiliar, but they are also sweet, gentle, loving. They are both completely foreign aliens to us and also our siblings, our kin, as close to us as our own hearts. Do you go out to the still water and the woods like Windleberry and learn there from the peace of wild things who don't worry themselves imagining future sorrows? Do you watch the bees move between flowers and wish you could be that wild, that loving, that at home in the world? We humans are one species among many, It is good to learn about those who live here with us, and it is good to learn from them. A connection with a non-human animal can comfort us, strengthen us, teach us, and it should also humble us. May we recognize always that we still have much to learn. May we be humbled by the lessons, by the love of these creatures who share our earth with us. We're going to share a slideshow of images of just a few of the animal companions who have touched the lives of this congregation, who have died and left us with their love and the lessons that they taught us while they were alive. If you have an animal in your life who you loved and lost, please know that their memory is honored here as well, even if their image is not included. May there always be a sunspot to lie in where each of those beloved animals have gone. We have a reading here taken from a novel written by Marian Robinson. In the novel, a character, a clergyman, is reminiscing about an experience he had in childhood. He says, "We were very pious children from pious households in a fairly pious town, and this affected our behavior considerably. Once we baptized a litter of cats. They were dusty little barn cats, just steady on their legs and kind of waifish creatures that live their anonymous lives, keeping the mice down and have no interest in humans at all, except to avoid them. But all animals seem to start out sociable. So we were always pleased to find new kittens prowling out of whatever cranny their mother tried to hide them in, as ready to play as we were. It occurred to one of the girls to swaddle them up in a doll's dress. There was only one dress, which was just as well, since the cats could hardly tolerate a moment in it and would have been unswaddled as soon as they were christened in any case. I myself moistened their brows, repeating the full Trinitarian formula. I still remember how those warm little brows felt under the palm of my hand. Everyone has petted a cat. But to touch one like that with the pure intention of blessing it is a very different thing. It stays in the mind. For years we would wonder what, from a cosmic viewpoint, we had done to them. It still seems to me to be a real question. There is a reality in blessing. It doesn't enhance sacredness, but it acknowledges it. And there's a power in that. I have felt it pass through me, so to speak. The sensation is of really knowing a creature, really feeling its mysterious life and your own mysterious life at the same time. Now, the time is upon us to bless our animals. We're going to invite anyone who would like to, whether you have an animal or a stuffy or simply your own self, who would like to be blessed with a bit of washable, non-toxic colored chalk and a few words of blessing, to come forward. The plan is to minimize anyone getting tangled up in the aisle. So we'll start at the front, come down the center, and return down the sides, make our way through the sanctuary that way. If we get a little mixed up or confused, try and just take a deep breath. Remember, there's no rush. We're not going to run out of blessings up here. We can take our time and enjoy reflecting on the joy and beauty here in the room with us. As our reading said, a blessing doesn't enhance sacredness, but simply acknowledges it. My hope is that we can all feel the power of that sacredness inherent in the lives of these animals and our own lives. And before we begin moving around and people start coming up, let's all give a blessing together. If you have an animal with you, just lay your hand on them or above them. Try to feel the warmth of your loving intentions channeling through your palms. If you don't have an animal with you, you might rest your hand on your own heart and feel the blessing there. Or hold your open palms out, channeling your blessing to all the animals who are not in the sanctuary with us. A blessing doesn't enhance sacredness, it acknowledges it. I invite you to direct your attention toward whoever it is you're blessing and repeat after me. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be peaceful and at ease. And with that, the first rows can rise. Make your way up to the center aisle. Anyone who wants to can come forward to be blessed. may all animals here and elsewhere, human and non-human, be happy, be well, be safe, be peacefully at ease. Some of us might want to be heading outside for fellowship hour today, if we are a dog who has a full bladder, for example. So we're going to make sure there's a little bit of coffee out there at the picnic tables for the humans, if that's what you'll be doing. Please stick around and hopefully we'll have a chance to meet some of those adorable neighbors we saw come forward. And we're going to extinguish our chalice with help from the fourth member of the Munoz family. And with our chalice extinguishing words from UU Minister Reverend Elizabeth Selly Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Amen. And when you go, go in peace.